All right. I think you can actually hear me now. This is what I get for muting myself in my little tabs over here when I spin up the YouTube and Facebook. Sometimes I don't notice if I'm spinning everything up. I don't notice that the mic occasionally gets shut off when I have to reboot OBS. So I've been talking here for the last couple minutes, and you guys have not been able to hear anything. My apologies. I'm going to give you the summary here of everything that I said. So if you need help with AI or have questions about any tools or anything like that, or automation, it doesn't have to be AI. It could just be automations. Then this session is for you. I have over 11 years of experience in software engineering. And so this is my opportunity to answer your questions, but then also learn along with you about all the stuff that's going on in the AI space, whether it's new tools that we need to play with or whether it's news that we need to cover, whatever it is. I am also doing during these sessions a giveaway, and I'm going to pull this up again since you guys couldn't hear me. You gotta love tech. This is all on me. This is user error because I didn't double check. If you would like a copy of Alex Hormozi's new book, I am giving away up to 9 copies today. Just go ahead and scan that QR code or click the link in the chat and go submit your submission, I guess, there on the form. And at around 7 o'clock is when I typically do these giveaways. So you can go ahead and do that now and or through anytime throughout the live stream, and you should be able to get access to a book. I cover the cost of the book. You just have to pay for the shipping. So we'll announce those winners at the end if there are any. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to get into our news, and there isn't much of it. Once we cover our news, we're going to get back to vibe coding, a goal tracking app that I had started a couple weeks ago. I picked up on this again last week and made a little bit more progress on it. I have to refresh my memory every now and then because I forget. You know, being away for a week kind of does that to you. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. As we're kind of going through, if you have questions, please drop those questions in the chat on YouTube or Facebook. I also have a special link that I put in there. If you have a much longer question that you want to type out and you don't want to have to do it over multiple chat messages, then you can do that there. I see it all. I've got it up here on my screen so that way I can see everything. So I'll pause on occasion and go and look and see what things you have asked there in the chat. So let's get to it for the evening. Again, there's not much news tonight, but let's take a look at what we do have. So first of all, Google has announced personal intelligence in AI mode in search. Help that's uniquely yours. So with Google search, you should be able to ask any question, find precisely what you need. Let me zoom in on this too, so that way it's a little easier for you guys to see this. There we go. Accessing the world's information is foundation. Basically, you want insights that are relevant to you. To make this vision possible today, we're expanding personal intelligence to AI mode in Google search. So this is like whenever you go to google.com and you go to that search bar, they're adding in a personal intelligence feature. So it says that it transforms search into an experience that feels uniquely yours by connecting the dots across your Google apps. Starting today, the AI Pro and Ultra subscribers can opt in to securely connect Gmail, Google Photos to AI mode. So basically, this is going to pull in all of your personal private information that you have inside of Gmail, Google Photos, assuming that you're logged in. So this is going to have to imply that you are actually logged in to Google when you go to the google.com search engine. So let's see here. Recommendations won't just match your interests. They fit seamlessly into your life. Testing it. Okay, having the photos enabled. I found new things I would never have considered before. Was looking for a new pair of sneakers. You noticed a brand I just bought and suggested a new style I hadn't seen yet. Interesting. Recommendation was spot on. Let's see here. It'll be particularly helpful for shopping. could automatically take your account into account the brands you prefer, as well as your flight confirmation in Gmail to identify destination and timing. Interesting. You can ask fun questions, like if my life were a movie. Okay. You're always in control. We've designed it with transparency, choice, and control. Okay, it's all opt-in, which is really nice. It uses Gemini 3, doesn't train directly on your Gmail inbox. So that's nice. So the model is not trained on your stuff, but it can just kind of search over whatever it is you have. So that's going to be very private and personal per person. Okay, let's see what else they say here. All right, so that's pretty interesting. Looks like they got some instructions here on how you turn it on. You open search in your and tap your profile, click on search personalization, select connected content apps, connect workspace and Google Photos. Okay, cool. So that's pretty straightforward. Let's move on to our next article from Google. So they say that Google AI Plus is now available everywhere. Our AI plans are available, including the US. So it opens up access to powerful AI models. Okay, it's got Gemini 3 Pro, Nano Banana Pro. It includes 200 gigabytes of storage. You can share all the benefits with up to 5 family members. Existing Google One Premium 2 terabyte subscribers will automatically get access. Okay, in the next few days. Let's see here. In the US, Google AI Plus is available for $7.99 a month. For a limited time, new subscribers can get 50% off their first 2 months. So that's cool. Let's see here. So right now I'm actually paying for the, am I paying for the Pro? I feel like I think I'm paying for the Pro. So this is like a step in between like free and Pro, which is kind of nice. So if you want something, I guess it's a little less powerful. Okay, the way they describe this. Oh, I see. Okay, so the bit I was confused about was this 2 terabyte. So if you're already just paying for storage, basically you're going to get access to this by default. Okay, that's cool. So they're offering now an option here for you to be able to, it's a lower tier option for you to start being able to play with AI and Google. That's really nice. You know, 200 gigabytes of storage for, you know, after the initial discount, $7.99 a month. That's pretty good. You'll get the 200 credits. You'll get access to the app, the Gemini app. You'll get access to Flow, which is the filmmaking tool. Whisk does the image to video creation. Notebook LM, Gemini and Gmail, vids, and more. So lots of really nice features there for a cheaper price. So that's really handy for, I think, a lot of people who may not normally be able to afford access to AI, but want to start playing with some of it. All right, let's look at our last article here, and then we'll get back to our vibe coding. So just ask anything, a seamless new search experience. This might be a duplicate of, or a similar article to that first one we just read. So let's see what it says. People come to search for an incredibly wide range of questions, sometimes to find information quickly, like sports, score, or weather. Okay. For complex questions or tasks, you need to explore a topic deeply. You should be able to seamlessly tap into a powerful conversational AI experience. Today, we're rolling out 2 upgrades that bring us closer to this vision for search. The ability to ask whatever's on your mind, no matter how long or complex, and find exactly what you need. First, we're making Gemini 3 the new default model for the AI Overviews Global, so you get best-in-class AI response on this right on the search results page for questions where it's helpful. Second, we're making the transition to a conversation even more seamless. Now you can easily ask a follow-up question right from AI overview, jump into a conversational back and forth. Right, in our testing, we found people prefer an experience that flows naturally into a conversation. And asking follow-up questions, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, that's how I do my searching now, though most of it's with ChatGPT nowadays. Fluid experience with prominent links, quick snapshot when you need it, deeper conversation when you want it. Okay. Let's see kind of how this looks. So give me a full spectrum options for indoor herb garden in my kitchen. Less than $100, energy efficient and not too bulky. Okay, so you get all that information, pictures with links. Okay, so it kind of starts there in your search. Oh, I see. That was the follow-up. So when you do that search the first time, you're going to get the AI overview. You can hit the show more, and then they have the ability for you to get more details and then ask follow-up questions down here. So that's cool. That's really cool. I think that's a good way to do it. They're moving in the right direction. A lot of people still use Google, so that's a really good way for people to get exposure to AI. All right, that's it for our news articles for the evening. I told you it was going to be really short, so we are going to switch on over to our vibe coding, getting back into our application. Before I do, let me check our chat over here to see if we've got any questions or comments or anything like that. I am not seeing anything in our chat, and I'm not seeing anything in our form. So I'm going to go ahead and move on over to, give me a second here. I got to open up our Google Anti-Gravity because that's the tool that we've been using for this project. All right, let's go back into it. All right, so we got our project here. So this is kind of what the project looks like so far. Basically, the idea of this is that what I want to be able to do is create like an overarching goal with some kind of target date, like how soon do I want to try to get this thing done. So we kind of have this card here that lets us put in our title, our description, what kind of category this relates to. Like, is this a skills thing that I want to, because sometimes you have things that aren't like, some things are money related and some things are not, right? Like some things are fitness. Some things are just personal skills. Like I'm learning how to play the piano right now. Things like that. So we have these different categories. We have prioritization that we have to worry about. And then we have like certain time frames. And so my thought was, well, what I kind of want to do is I want to be able to have an app where I specify here's what my end goal is. Like here's the thing I want to accomplish. And then I want to work backwards from that. So I want to be able to use AI to help me kind of work my way backwards and figure out if this is my goal, here are all the step-by-step breakdowns or like tasks and milestones that I would need to be able to hit. So that way I can achieve the goal that I have in mind. Sometimes you can do some of those things manually, think through those things and work those out yourself. But sometimes if you just don't have experience with that thing, you don't really know what are the things you need. And so I thought, well, it would be cool if I had AI built into that app to help me kind of work my way backwards through that. And then I want to add an extra layer onto this where aside from just, obviously I want to be able to do the tracking and all that stuff of, hey, am I hitting my, these tasks? Am I checking these things off? Am I getting to where I need to be? So all that tracking needs to be in place. But I want an extra feature here where I can link this to my calendar, like a Google Calendar or something like that. And then once I link it to my calendar, it can time block for me. So I want to be able to have those tasks time blocked into my day and have the AI help me schedule those things. So that's kind of the idea here. And I just thought this would be a fun thing to vibe code. So, I'm not trying to make this like an overly technical project. I don't know if somebody finds it valuable for some reason, then maybe I'll look at trying to release it at some point. But this is kind of just what I'm trying to do. So what we're doing is we're doing this with anti-gravity. Anti-gravity is Google's, it's based on Visual Studio Code, but it's a code editor basically that has AI kind of built into it, and particularly mostly their models, right? They have integration here with web browser. So what this will actually do when it starts going through and kind of developing things and testing things, it'll actually go in and test in the browser to make sure that things are functioning as expected. So pretty cool as far as like the features here, and it's not like super complicated to set up. It's got a lot of similar, again, it's built on an existing open source code editor, and so it's got a lot of the features that you might need to do development. I think for somebody who doesn't have a technical background, this can be a great place for you to start. You don't necessarily have to be able to read all the code to just kind of get something going. If you're talking about like actually deploying an app for multiple people though, I will say you're going to struggle at some point. So because it's one thing to just kind of run something locally. It's another thing to actually like make sure it's solid, make sure the security is good, make sure like you can actually deploy this on a server somewhere and make sure it can handle the load of other users. So there's all those kinds of things. But for prototyping, for MVPs, things like that, I think this could be a good tool for most people. So we're picking up from where we left off last time. So let's, right now I'm using the Gemini Pro 3. Partly because I've got the AI, I'm paying for their AI right now. They have some other models here, which is kind of cool. And I'm using Claude Code for some other projects. So I can definitely say this Opus is pretty good. We'll just go with Google's. I don't see how this, I haven't tried. I mean, we can try it. I'm just not sure what's going to happen. I almost don't want to because I don't know what's going to happen. Well, let's try it. Let's see. We'll just try it. We'll say, where did we leave off? And do they actually give me an integration? Okay, so the thing I was confused about was whether how this was going to work, because I'm genuinely confused because I didn't hook this up manually. This was just kind of here. And I'm wondering if Google is kind of, my stuff is going through Google and then they're shipping it over to Claude, or are they using my local, cause I've got Claude Code set up. I'm not really sure. So this is a little bit mysterious to me. Let's see where we left. Okay. Last session, January 21st. So a week ago. Okay. Let's see here. We were working on debugging the authentication system for your goal planning and tracker app. Okay. And we had some artifacts. Okay. Verifying. Okay. So the thing I haven't yet figured out, and I'm checking the comments, guys, here and there, just to kind of see if anybody's dropping any questions or comments in here. The thing I hadn't yet figured out. So they have this premise inside of anti-gravity that they call artifacts. And like this thing you're seeing here in the middle, this walkthrough, this is an artifact. And so this isn't like a standard file. And I'm not really sure where is this getting stored? Like, if I want to open this again, where is it going to be? So, because there was another one. Let me see if I can scroll over and find it. So we got another walkthrough. There was another one like tasks or roadmap. And I was able to find it last time by looking here at the artifacts, but maybe I can ask it, where do I find my artifacts? Oh, interesting. Okay, here we go. So, artifacts are stored in conversation-specific directory. Okay. However, I just checked the directory. It's currently empty. We haven't created any artifacts in this particular conversation. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So that's like per conversation. And there's a thing you can do. I remember the shortcut. Okay, it's this open agent manager. So here's our previous conversations. So these are all the conversations that I have. And I can pick it back up from where I left off. And this is my workspace. So okay, and so let's see here. It's currently empty. Each conversation gets its own folder. Is the conversation unique ID? Comment artifacts I create during work include. Would be in different folders. Let me ask, are you able to get access to those artifacts? So that's interesting. So we have our previous one. We've got our previous two, actually. So let me just say this. Let's recreate the artifacts in this conversation, but please based on the previous ones, but please make sure to include all the, well, now I think I'm just going to delete this one. We're going to delete that. We're going to go back to our auth hashing and login. Can you please, ooh, actually, I'd like to see if I can use this. Audio is not supported for this model. Okay, what if I use the Gemini 3 Pro? Let's see if it works. Last time I tried to use this, it was not working super great. So I would like to know if we can record audio and just speak to it. So we'll see if this works better this time. I'd like for you to review the artifacts from the other conversation that we had, and then make sure that our current artifacts are properly reflecting all of the information from the previous ones. Please make sure that there is no major discrepancies. If there are, I'd like for you to explicitly tell me what those discrepancies are. Okay, let me see if this... I'm not sure if I can hear that. I have no idea where that's being played through. Hopefully it works. Let's see if it can... apparently I can't hear it back. It doesn't play back very well. And I'm not sure if I need to click this restart update thing. Okay, maybe it did. Let's see here. Oh boy, it just started going. I don't know if it did what it was supposed to do. Oh, that may not have worked like I had hoped it would. Well, it's doing the thing right now. So, let's see. Do we have any comments in our chat? No, I'm not seeing any. If you guys have any comments or questions about anything related to we're vibe coding right now with Google Anti-Gravity, but if you got any questions about AI, automation, anything like that while we're here, please drop them there in the chat, and I'll see them on my side and be happy to answer those. Again, this session is meant for you to be able to come learn some things along with me, and then also like ask your questions from somebody who's been doing automation for over 11 years now. So let's see how, I mean, this thing is just chugging through. So this is the calendar. It looks like it's adding the calendar integration, which is cool. I know just from having played with this some, or with the application some already, that it is going to have to do a lot of stuff. There are features that are just not quite right yet, so we're gonna have to get that fixed. Especially like when you're creating a goal and everything. I want that experience to be a little more streamlined, like a flow. Like when you click create goal for the first time, it takes you to like a single page, and then you hit next, and then you hit next, and you kind of go through it, and then it takes you through each of those steps, basically. I feel like that's going to be a much better experience overall. So let's see how this thing plays out. Rebuilding Docker, implementing the Google Calendar service. Okay, so the thing... So I hadn't yet gotten to the point in anti-gravity where I quite understood how to read some of these things, mostly because most of the time when I was looking at it previously, I was looking at it through this lens here. And so this was like popping up that little box there, and it was how these things nested, and so it was very confusing. Oh, there we go. That's how we see okay, start a new conversation, additional options. Oh, okay. Customizations, MCP. Let me see this customizations. So that I was a little confused by some of that stuff, but it looks like this is just like some of the stuff that's happening in the background. Like, hey, it's downloading these packages. Doing those kinds of things. And let's see. And I guess if you open this up, so these are each of the steps, it looks like. And so I guess it's kind of figuring out like what are the orders of the steps. So if I collapse that, so these are my progress updates overall. Interesting. So that makes sense. While that's kind of chugging along, let's go explore some more of this stuff. So, okay, open browser. Okay, there we go. So it's opening that just fine. Yeah, see, there's things that are clearly missing here. Like even just, I don't think we finished it tried to go straight into building out the calendar integration. We don't even have a full like log out thing yet. Like we need to have a log out option here. I also don't like, rather than having this thing here, I really want to see like a button here somewhere. Where would that make the most sense? Because I also want to consider like, what does this look like if I'm on a phone, right? So if we want to, let's say this thing gets filled up, because we can do that. We can say example, and then skills medium within the quarter, and then let's create our goal. Oh, is this even up? Oh, the app isn't even up right now. We need to spin this thing up. Okay. Let's ask it. Let's just say, please. Well, before I do that. We're still waiting for this Docker build. It sure is taking a while, though. This feels like it's taking way longer than it should. Typically, I would expect these things to, I mean, I know they take a little time, but maybe I'm just impatient. Okay. So it looks like it wrapped that up. Okay. Adding a walkthrough for the... Okay, adding the calendar integration walkthrough. Okay, updated the dependencies to auto-detect the application credentials. Fall back to the mock calendar service, verified. App remains stable without keys. How to enable real integrations. Okay. To switch from mock to real mode, simply add these to your ENV. Okay, your Gemini API key, your Google application credentials. Okay. The ID of the calendar to write to. That's not really quite what we wanted, though. I wanted the calendar to be something that you could choose from. Let's see. Let's kind of, we're going to work through some of these things because I don't want, please make a note that I don't want to specify the calendar. I don't want to explicitly specify the calendar ID from within the ENV settings. We want the user to be able to select their calendar from their connected Google Calendar account, and will also want to allow them to do a similar thing with other calendar calendar apps like Microsoft and Apple in the future. The application needs to be robust enough to support this. Okay. So we're gonna let it go there. Oh, is it just gonna go ahead and start doing it? Interesting. So it's very, I'm finding, as I play with this, that it is really, really proactive Like, I say, hey, I want to make sure it's robust for these things. And then it immediately goes and makes the change. So, if you want to use Google's models, it seems like it's kind of implicit. Like, if you, how do I say this? If you don't want it to do something, you need to be explicit about what you don't want it to do. Like, if I was to just say, I want you to just add this to the plan, please don't actually implement this yet. That's the kind of, I need to be very explicit about saying that, because otherwise this ends up getting, kind of confused and thinking that I'm ready for you to start making those changes. So it's already there, but we can go from there. So let's go ahead and okay, it looks like we're ready to log in, and I had a dummy account that I created here. Let's test, I think was my, oh no, I've forgotten. Let's call it my test and mytest@gmail.com. We'll see if it prevents me. So this is a good test, right? Let's test. Okay. I'm gonna do that again. My test. Does this work? Okay, so I'm not getting any feedback here. So let's say when I create a new account, and use the same email that already exists in the system, I need it to not only block the account from being created, but I also need a message that says the account already exists. We're going to also need a forgot password flow, because that's missing. See, these are just little things, right? Like that got neglected. This little bell thing should also not, like, that shouldn't be there. So these are all the kinds of things that we need to do. The other thing we need to do, so we just had that changed. Please make sure that you add automated tests for this functionality. So this is another part. If you're doing any kind of vibe coding, you need to make sure that at the very least, you are having it write automated tests as you go, as you add features. Because if you don't, then it will break things. And you want it to write tests and then to run them whenever it's adding a new feature. So you need to include this loop of write code, write tests, or maybe even write your tests, write your code, run your tests. You need to have a loop like that. So writing code, writing tests, running tests, and making sure everything is working correctly. And if you wrote or changed code that broke something, then the code needs to get fixed. And this is so that way you don't go back and you don't delete behavior, expected behavior. Let's see if we got any comments here. We're coming up on 7 o'clock. So once we hit 7 o'clock, I'd say we're probably going to give it a... once we hit 7 o'clock, we are going to do our giveaway. While we're kind of on this, while this is still thinking, don't forget that if you would like a chance to win Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Money Models, then you either need to scan that QR code that's on the screen, or click the link that's in the chat on YouTube and Facebook. Those links are going to take you to a form. You go fill out that form. I only give away this book during the live streams, so you have to be here and actually click that unique link. If you do it after the fact, I don't give away books to people who are not here. So if you want a chance to win that book, the book is paid for aside from the shipping. So you just pay $5 for the shipping and you get that delivered directly to your doorstep. All right, let's go back and kind of see what's going on here. So let's ask it, do we have proper automated tests written to cover the expected behavior of our login flows? So when I would say, if you're a non-technical person and you know, this might be a little challenging for some people because it's code related, but what I would say is, for you, if you're vibe coding, think about like, what are the types of behavior that you want your application to do? And what are the types of behavior that you don't want your application to do? So you need to think really carefully about like all the different scenarios, and then you can basically just tell your AI, you can say, hey, I want to make sure we have tests for these things, that we enforce this behavior and that we enforce that this behavior doesn't happen. And then it'll help you write those tests. So please make sure that we have both positive and negative test cases to cover all expected behavior. And so I am being really, I'll just be honest, I'm being super loose with this right now because this is a fun project. This is not a commercial project. I do similar things when I'm working on commercial projects. What I'm doing differently here is I'm not doing near the type of code review that I would do on a commercial application. If this were like, if I were really serious about this, I would be very carefully analyzing all the test cases and making sure everything works as expected. But this is not that. And so I don't care. I care just enough that it's kind of working the way I want it to work, roughly. And that's it. So this is for fun. This is mostly for fun. So maybe we'll dig into it further in the future, but there we go. Okay, so now we've got more test cases and we're good. Please run the full test suite to make sure that nothing is broken. The other thing that I would say, if you're vibe coding, that you probably want to learn, in addition to the testing, this is kind of like one of the best ways to first make sure you don't break something, is just say, hey, make sure before you finalize those changes, run your tests. But the other way is to make sure that when you actually make progress with something that you're happy about, you know, how would you typically, what would you typically do to save progress, to make sure you didn't have an issue, right? If you were writing a document or whatever you were doing, you would make another copy, or you would save your progress in something that can take like a snapshot. And so basically you want to do the same thing with code. There's some software called Git, G-I-T, which is intended for this kind of stuff. So you can take snapshots of your code as you go. And this will help you make sure, like, if you have a problem, you can revert the thing and start all over. Typically, inside of anti-gravity, it's probably going to be this source control option here. And you're going to play with like committing the messages and stuff like that. So I have not done any of this yet. I've just really been kind of playing with it and asking to add things and add tests as I go. And it generally seems to be doing a pretty good job right now. At some point, I probably need to make that commit. So let's say, okay, we got this. Let's say we've got my test. Let's say, let's test. Okay, good. We're signed in. We don't have a logout button. Let's say we need a logout button that pops up when we click the user icon in the top right of the screen. Also, that icon should only show up once we've logged in. Hopefully that's not too many instructions for it to follow. You'll find that these AI models, the more instructions that you kind of give it, the harder of a time that they have. But they are getting better and better to be able to handle like multiple step instructions. And that's, you know, it's just as the models get better, it's just one of those things. You have to keep that in mind. I tend to think about this, you know, I think of these AI almost like little virtual employees. I am very careful not to give massive amounts of instructions, or if I do, I'm usually going to itemize those. And then, you know, what else would you do? You would maybe like create tasks and stuff and track your task. And that's just so somebody doesn't get overwhelmed and they don't forget. Like people do this too, where they get overwhelmed with the number of things that you give them to do, and then they forget to do something, or they miss something because you didn't format it clearly and you didn't have the tracking in place and all these things. So I just think about it similarly when I'm doing things with these AI. You know, give them one little thing at a time. Don't give them too many things at once. Let's see how this looks now. So okay, there we go. Boom. Oh, cool. We've got a your profile that doesn't do anything. We've got a settings that doesn't do anything. And then we've got a sign out. And okay, cool. Sign up. Log in. Okay, those are looking good. Very, very nice. Let's say we want to sign up, and let's do my test, and let's do my test at Gmail. And let's say another pass. Okay. Let's go to sign into existing account, my test. Let's test. Okay, so that's the original. Say create a new account, my test. We'll just say test is the password. I didn't get any kind of error here. Let's log in, and we'll say test. Okay, that's invalid name or password. So when I attempt to create a new account with an email that already has an account, it reloads it doesn't show an error message on the page. Okay, so it's going through, it's adding those things. Should be good now. My test, test. But this email already exists. Good. And then we log in and we go, my test, let's test. Okay, that looks great. So we're good to go there. Do we have automated tests in place to for this functionality, for this behavior? So we're just going to kind of loop around and make sure that we have what we need here. Let's see if we've got any more comments over here. All right, y'all, we're hitting 7 o'clock. So I think it's time for us to go ahead and do our giveaway. So let me go ahead and pull up our form over here while our agent is processing away at things. Let's see if we have any submissions this evening. Okay, guys, we don't have any submissions for this evening, so we are not going to be giving away any copies. If you came and got here a little too late and you just wish you had submitted an entry to be able to win a copy of Alex Hormozi's book, don't worry, we're going to be doing this again next week, assuming I don't have any complications that prohibit me from doing this live stream. We try to do this every week, so we'll be doing this again next Tuesday, and then giving away more copies. So we're giving away up to 9 more. I'm thinking about cutting it off, thinking about it. So we'll see. But if that's you, if you know somebody else who wants a copy, bring them to this live stream, have them submit. You can win up to 9 copies. So hopefully that's exciting for you guys. Let's get back here. We're going to be wrapping it up here in just a minute. Let's kind of see what else we can kind of get done here quickly. So yes, I've added, okay. Do we have test cases in place? Let's say positive and negative test cases in place for our sign out. So every little feature, every little bit of functionality that I expect as behavior, I'm just going to ask it to write tests. And that way it's going to make this a little bit better and a little bit better every time. So we're going to have to do something here about the way that these goals are created. I need like a button in the middle here, and then I want it to take us through screens where we see all those things. Okay, I think, oh, we're done. We're done processing. Okay, it's kind of done its thing. So we're good here. We're good here. I need to say, at some point I'm going to have to test the OAuth, the login with like Google or other providers. So I think that's going to be like an environment variable thing. Let me see here. I'm not seeing any kind of OAuth login on my login page. And so hopefully maybe that will very quickly and easily get resolved. So, okay, it hasn't done anything around the OAuth yet. We're going to want this for most common providers like Google, Microsoft, and Apple. Okay, so it's chugging through that. Okay, there we go. The icons don't look great, but that's okay. So that helps us get in the right direction. Let's see here. Please make sure that we have all positive and negative test cases and edge cases written for all the possible provider flows. If they share common functionality behind the scenes, well, we'll just leave it at that. We'll just kind of see. We'll just kind of see what it does. It's doing a lot of like UI test coverage. Do we have the tests necessary for all service layer for all layers, service, integration, etc. Oh, well, it took my question and it really applied it broadly. I meant it more for like the I really meant it more for the OAuth. For OAuth login. All right, let's see if we got any. If you guys have comments or questions or anything, please feel free to drop them in here. I'm still around, so we will. I'll answer those as long as you've got questions. Anything about AI, automation, anything like that. So let's see here. Okay, gap analysis. Okay. Make sure that we implement the code that will actually permit this to run, and also write the tests to support it. All right, so it's kind of doing its thing on the back end here. This needs some improvement, so we'll have to fix that up at some point. But this thing is generally functioning, which is great. If we can get this OAuth, this sign-in working, that's going to be great. That'll be really, really nice for just being able to sign in and then associate with the other thing I need to make sure of. I want to make sure of is that, you know, regardless of the type of account that you sign in with, like whether I sign in with Google, with Microsoft, or Apple, or whatever, I want to be able to associate that with the email address. So that way you don't have a situation where you end up creating multiple accounts, you know. All right, so it's working. It's doing its thing. we go. We're writing our tests. Okay. So mock OAuth backend is working. I'm gonna have to test this with my own account later at some point. Great. Are all the tests, linters, and type checkers passing? So we're gonna have it make sure that everything is passing appropriately. So that's the other. So one other thing here I would say is if you're vibe coding and you don't have technical experience, I would just make sure that whatever language your system is using, just make sure you tell it, hey, I want automated tests, I want linting, and I want a type checker on this thing. And make sure it's set up to run those things. I am using for all of this, for running the application locally, for running the automated tests, for running the type checker, all of these things. I'm using Docker for this. Docker is a technology that lets you run like apps in a container, so that they can just kind of ship wherever you want them to. And it makes it really easy to spin up on a computer. So all you have to do is go install like Docker desktop if you're like on Windows or Mac, and then from there you can basically run whatever applications you might need. So you can pull in all sorts of other services and stuff. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier if you have a lot of other dependencies like databases and things like that you need to run. You just say, hey, I want to run this application in Docker, and I want to run automated tests and linters and type checkers, and go from there. Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up here for the evening. So thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you dropping by. We are going to be again doing this again next week. Maybe we'll have some more AI news to cover. Maybe we will probably be picking up with more vibe coding, finishing out this project, or at least getting closer to it. In the meantime, if you have a desire to get an email, like an email reminder that we are meeting, let me swap over here. You can scan that QR code, or you can click the link I am dropping here in the chat on YouTube and on Facebook. Go there, fill out that form, and you're going to get an email reminder typically about 24 hours before we meet, and then another 10 minutes before we meet. If for some reason I have to cancel, I usually try to send out an email as well that, hey, we had to cancel, I'm so sorry, or we're moving it to this day, or whatever it is. So anyways, thank you guys again for being here. I had a really good time vibe coding this thing this evening. We're making progress on the application. I'm really excited to kind of see how well this really does. I'm going to have to actually start hooking up some things to it, like seeing if we can get a real sign in to Google working, and hooking it up to a real AI with an API or something like that. See if it can generate some data for us, and then I gotta refine the flows a little bit here. But I'm really excited for where the project is heading. It's been fun. It's been very easy. I have not had to worry about because we're vibe coding this thing. I'm not trying to worry about it being super professional. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the experience so far. And I think for a lot of you guys, if you just kind of need something that kind of works, like this might be a good way to do it. So, all right, we're going to end it here. Thank you guys again. As always, thanks for coming in. Take it easy. Bye-bye.